Okay, this is going to be a quick one. So, about half hour ago, I was supposed to be on a planning meeting with my co-host, and she did not show up. So, of course, I'm worried, right? That's a separate issue. But this is really going to bum me out because I gotta find this girl. Yeah. Okay. So so I decided that I'm going to record probably the shortest, the shortest podcast episode ever. Um, and the reason why is because you know how when you have a thought or how some people we call I mean in my world we call it like a download, like this kind of insight, this intuitive hit, whatever you call it. I now, pay attention to those. And I pay attention to like when I have a thought that comes from out of nowhere or it comes from somewhere, right? Like I notice something and then I mention something and then a day or two later you see something that is in the same realm as that. So I'd like to explain something to you. So last week I was driving home. I picked up my oldest from school and we're driving home and we're sitting at a stoplight and it's a very busy intersection, very busy both ways, busy. Three lanes on each side. Like these are the neighborhoods that I live in, like three lanes going one way, three lanes going the other, two on this side, two on this side. It's a busy intersection. And as a mom, I'm always like, I'm so worried. Like, be careful crossing the street because we live in a very crazy populated area and people drive like assholes. And so we're sitting at the stoplight, and I see these two boys who were probably, they were teenagers, high schoolers maybe, on, I want to say, okay, so I was thinking they were scooters, but they weren't scooters. They were those motorized bikes that have like big fat tires. And so they've got motors on them, so they go really fast. Neither one of them was wearing helmets. And both of them, if I'm facing this way, sitting at a stoplight, they're in the crosswalk, crossing the street, and then they went to our right. And I'm watching them, and they ride their bikes, motorized bikes across the street, and then like whip around onto the sidewalk. And they're just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that just makes me just so nervous. Like, and then I stop for a minute and they're just kind of zipping down and they're going super fast. And I look at my daughter and she didn't really get it because she's just, I was like, man, what I wouldn't give to just be a boy, a man, a boy, because boys in that age are just like they're young and dumb, right? And fearless. And so I said, man, what I wouldn't give to just be a boy for a week. She was like, he goes, you want to transition? And I was like, no, babe, I don't want to transition. I just want to like for a week be a teenage boy. Why? Why would I want to do that? She's like, she looked at me funny, right? And I said, look at how free they are. I'm watching them just like zip, like fast on these motorized bikes down a busy street. And all I can think of is, my God, slow down. My God, don't get hit by a car. And, 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 and I said, and what I said to her, I explained to her, boys have testosterone, and testosterone creates this like daringness. It creates courage. They're fearless. They do shit really without thinking, am I going to get hurt? And then there's girls who are like, "Huh." Now listen, I'm making sweeping generalizations. Shut the fuck up. I know what I'm doing. I'm making sweeping generalizations. Biologically wired, testosterone creates this, and I don't know really the words to use, but my words are just going to be this daringness, this boldness, this risk takingness. And I want to experience what that would feel like for a minute, just to be wild And if you know me and you've followed me at all, even a little bit, everything about, my content and my platform and my message is women daring greatly, women, shout out to Brene Brown, women living out loud, women living like boldly. Why is that so important to me? Because I feel so fucking shut down. I have felt so closed off, so just like, you know, don't say this, don't act like this, don't wear this, don't fuck this way. Like, and I'm being serious. Like the limitations that I feel as a woman feel so fucking oppressive. And I look at men out in the world who can say whatever the fuck they want, do whatever the fuck they want, like rename a gulf, rename a body of water. Who in the fuck do you think you are? And I'm not trying to be political here, but I'm just talking about it from the standpoint of like size of balls. Like, and I don't mean that I don't, that to me right now isn't a compliment. It's not a compliment. And yet, women in general, girls, said, what will people think about me? Oh, I did it. I've seen my girls do it. That's cringe, mom. You can't say that. Why don't you have a conversation with that girl about what you're upset about? Mom, oh my gosh, mom, you can't do that. And I hate it for us. I hate it for us. And so the reason why I wanted to record this, oh, look at me, only 6 minutes and 50 seconds in, is because as I was sitting here waiting for my co-host, who I'm going to follow up with her because I'm really worried she didn't show up. I now I can't find it. Oh, here it is. I see this post from someone I follow. Her name is Kylie Ryan. I'm just going to show you because notice what it says on her. Motherfuck. Can we just stop here for a second? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on Facebook and I'm just going to share my fucking screen. So give me 1 second. Okay. So let me just share what literally 10 minutes ago grabbed my attention. So this right here was all that I saw on my phone. I tried to show you on my phone, but whatever. Daddy issues gone. I was like, oh shit. Click. You got me. You got me, Kylie. Click. And her post is long and it goes on to describe her experience as an entrepreneur and, slash being a woman, her experience with the difference between what and how men move and operate in the world and how women do it and how much time we spend in this kind of conversation that I was just having before. So I wish I had the confidence of a mediocre white man. And that's exactly what I was talking about when I was looking at these young boys daring and risk taking. And so she goes on to just write this whole long piece about what it's like as a woman and what it's like as a woman kind of like in the space of men's leadership. Let's just call it that. Let's just call it the historical framework for what leadership looks like, AKA white men. And so she just, goes on to talk about how much, just if you want to, I'll pop it in here, but if you want to read this, feel free. But it was so fascinating to me. And what I'm going to challenge you with something, this week. I have taken on working with a private coach. I have never done this before in my life. Might seem strange to you, but I have never worked one-on-one with a coach. I'll probably be talking a lot about my experience with her. I'm scared out of my fucking sneakers because she is a very good friend of mine and she informed me that she ain't going to be my friend while she's doing this coaching with me. And I was like, great, bring it, because I'm really ready. I've not always been ready, but I'm ready. I'm ready to have my ass handed to me. I'm ready to be called out. I'm ready to stop fucking playing bullshit games with what I'm doing in my life and my business. And she's the one to kick my ass into shape. And I'm excited about it. Just terrified, as equally terrified as I am excited. And so I just want you to, so in the process of me saying yes to being coached by her, she I have been witnessing and noticing and consciously being aware of my where my thoughts go. Where have my thoughts been going? And they've been going to very disempowered places automatically, unconsciously, just automatically. This is the loop. This is the thing that's happening. Something happens in my life. I start to think about this thing almost every time. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of energy that I'm spending on that thing that I have no control over, that I have no control over, that is not going to move the needle for what I say I want to create in my life. So let's go. And what I, so as I've been in this kind of space of like looking at my thoughts, looking at my predominant thoughts, it's been eye opening. And so I challenge you, for the, listen, do it for the next 3 hours. If you're a beast, do it for the next 24. If you're a fucking badass motherfucker, which I know you are, do it for the next week. Just slow down enough so that you can actually go, what's my predominant thought that's in the background right now? And it'll look like a series of something happens, and then in your mind you're playing out a scenario, or you're reliving something, or you're blaming and blaming someone else and victimizing yourself. And that was what was happening with me. I was just like, oh my God, I was running my life. And when I'm giving my energy and attention to something that A, I don't have any control over, and B, doesn't, like, just keeps me in this kind of negative place, then I can see, oh shit, that's where my fucking energy is going. Oh shit, that's what's draining me. And I just say this to you, aside from this topic of like, man, I wish I could be a fucking teenage boy for a week, just to feel what that sense of freedom and fearlessness and daringness and boldness and courage, just to see what the fuck that feels like. Because as a girl, right, we're all still the pieces of ourselves that we've been up until now. So I'm still a teenage girl. I'm still young, like a young woman. I'm still in my 30s. I'm still that person. She's in there. And when I look back at like how afraid I've been, how God designed me to be just intense as fuck. Ugh. Some people I know that love me call it passion. It hasn't felt like passion. It's felt like, fucking a lot. It's felt like a lot for a lot of my life. So just look at where are your thoughts going? Where are your thoughts going outside of this boldness and testosterone and wanting to like feel what it feels like to just like not give a fuck and just do what the fuck you want to do. I want to experience that. And I believe it takes something for the average typical woman to bump up against what are people going to think? What are they going to say? What does it look like? How am I coming across? Fuck the energy that I'm challenging you to think about the things that you say that you want. What's something that you say that you want that you're committed to in your life? It could be a relationship. It could be your health. It could be money, your career. It's something that's important to you, and that you also have a story, or you have a dialogue or a narrative running that has this essence of like, I can't because it's there. It's there. Why do I know it's there? Because if it wasn't there, if it wasn't that or something similar to that, you'd be doing it, having it, experiencing it. And why do I know? Because that's what the fuck I do. So, just a little tidbit, little baby up podcast episode to tell you, no, I don't want to transition. No, I don't. I don't even think it's penis envy, quite honestly. Um, I've maybe had that experience once or twice in my life. Like, oh, what would that be like? It's more, what would it feel like? What would it feel like? What would the experience of feeling fearless risk takey, bold, audacious, really like risk takey. What would it feel like to experience that and not have to push through limiting thoughts and fears, judgments of self, judgments of others? What would that look and feel like? Okay. And yeah, take that into your week. And as always, loving you fiercely and holding you high. See you later.